Most impressively, he has brought to life the lost murals of Tanjavur temple, recreating them on canvas. He joined the Rotary Club of Coimbatore in 1989 and has served as its past president. For the past 27 years, he has been the chairman of the prestigious Natyanjali Dance Festival, which is organized at the historic Perur temple. Indian heritage and culture has always been his passion. He's been organizing annual tour for club members to explore heritage sites across India, and he has also had the great privilege of being mentored by the legendary guru, late Padma Bhushan Dr. Nagaswamy. He has a deep passion for photography and has contributed his work to many renowned authors. Specializing in temple architectural photography, he has also undertaken exclusive projects focusing on South Indian bronze sculptures. His passion for Indian heritage and culture has inspired him to travel extensively across the country, visiting numerous ancient heritage sites and conducting in-depth study of their art and culture. He has amassed a remarkable collection of over 1 lakh slides showcasing various temples of South India. He has participated in numerous seminars and delivered lectures across the country. Additionally, he has organized heritage seminars featuring eminent scholars focusing on remarkable contributions of the Chola, Pandya, Chalukya, and Vijayanagar dynasties. During the pandemic, he has initiated a heritage group of 100 like-minded individuals and hosted virtual meetings featuring presentations on temples, architectures, and more. A collection of over 60 such lectures is available on YouTube under the channel Metro Heritage. His main hobbies include reading, driving, photography, and travel. He is also associated with several educational institutions and universities where he has been delivering guest lectures on significance of our culture and heritage. Without further ado, may I now invite Mr. Gurumurthy to take the podium.
Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. My pranams to Swamijis, all the persons who are assembled here is for the students of Vedanta. It's my pleasure that I'm coming here after a very long time. I've delivered a couple of lectures during Puja Swamiji's time, and after that it's a very long break and I've come here to give a lecture today. Swamiji asked me to talk about the Brihadishwara temple. So I decided to do justice by giving a gist of the temple, how it looks, and architectural version, and what is the greatness of the temple which we fail to understand in the second part of it. So I would like to restrict my lecture within about 45 minutes to 50 minutes. So we start with this lecture. I know every one of us go to the temples. We go there, and India, Bharat, is such a wonderful nation that length and breadth of this country, you find plenty of temples always, all over the world. And when we go to the temple, general practice of many people is that you walk in straight, go to the sanctum, pray for your requirements, pray everything to the God, and then come back. If you have time, you do a pradakshina, and then get back to the next temple. So, visit of a temple, when people go for a tour or a pilgrimage, this is what is happening. These temples, they just go, have the darshan of the God in the Mulasthanam, have a pradakshina if time permits, and then the itinerary is over, they go for the next temple. These temples especially in Tamil Nadu, are huge. It spreads across acres of lands. And when these temples are built, it is not built just for the sake of spiritual purpose alone. Of course, the temple is meant for elevating the spiritual level. That is one of the main things. But apart from that, temple serves as in many purposes. Like it is the place, it's like a university. It's a place where the entire village gathered, talked about their developments and how they could do it and all that. Marriages, functions, everything were held there. And the temples were the place of study. Tamil, Sanskrit, and all the languages were taught there. All the great music, instrumental, vocal, everything were conducted there. Classes were conducted. Classes were conducted for Vedas, recitations of Tevaram, everything was happening there. So it was the nerve center for every village, every town, everything. So that's why you have the temples with huge prakarams and things like that. So when you call a temple, it's a composite structure. And this particular temple, which we are going to talk itself, is by the name it is known as Big Temple. Next. This big temple was situated in Tanjavur, which was the earlier capital of the great Cholas, imperial Cholas of Tanjavur. Today, this temple is known as Brihadishwara Temple or the Big Temple. But the original name of this temple is Rajarajeshwaram. Because it was built by the great king Rajaraja, this temple was called as Rajarajeshwaram, and all the inscriptions in the temple just talk about this temple as Rajarajeshwaram. Neither the name Brihadishwara nor the big temple appears in any of these things. The Brihadishwara name was given to this temple later during the Maratha period. The temple is not only big in size, it is totally built from granite from the top to bottom. Everything is built of granite. And this granite is not available anywhere in the Tanjavur area. You know, Tanjavur area is a beautiful cultivable lands are there. There's not a single rock formation anywhere in that area. So these rock formations are elsewhere. We'll see about that. How they had moved these granite slabs from that place, built that massive temple, and that too in a span of 10 years. Today, we take up a flyover, that flyover goes for years together. They don't complete it in time. But unfortunately, we had skilled laborers and technicians. In spite of all these technological developments that we see today, they were able to execute this temple within a short span of 10 years. And this temple is such a huge, beautiful temple. Today it has been declared as a World Heritage Site. And in my opinion, it is not only should be recognized as a World Heritage Site, it should be also recognized as one of the wonders of the world, because the temple has got so much to offer for us. Next one. Now when you come to the temple, as you enter, the first arch that you see there is an arch that was built during the Maratha period. And that was not the original part of the temple. It was come later in the 17th century when the Marathas built it. Behind that, what you see is the Gopuram, the first Gopuram of the temple in the Dravidian style, which is known as Keralantakan Tiruvayil. Rajaraja built this temple after defeating Kerala. Kandalur Salai, there was a place in Kerala which he defeated and brought the booty, the loots from there, and with which he built this beautiful temple. So the first entrance to this temple is known as Keralantakan Tiruvayil, a beautiful Dravidian style of Gopuram. Unlike the Gopurams that you see today, where the Gopurams are tall and towering, these Gopurams are not that tall, it's short and very beautifully, intricately done. And this the typical style of the Dravidian entrance Gopuram called Keralantakan Tiruvayil. Next one. And this is studded with full of stucco images. built totally of granite. And one beautiful thing about this particular Gopuram is that on the south side, you have a shrine on the Gopuram for Dakshinamurti. And nowhere inside the temple you have a representative of Dakshinamurti, but here it is there inside that. Lot of beautiful sculptures are made of stucco, that is brick, mortar and lime. With that they have made these beautiful sculptures there. Next one. This particular Gopuram represents the Agni Tattva. So Shiva is seen as Panchabhuta. Apu, Teyu, Vayu, Prithvi, Akasham. So this Prithvi is the place where the temple is built, and this Gopuram represents the Agni. If you see that Gopuram, it goes like this sharp there. So it represents the Agni Tattva of Shiva in this particular temple. Okay, next. So lovely sculptures are there, and most of these sculptures are redone during the Maratha period. You have the Sadashiva Murti, Shiva with 5 faces, and you have that Gopasri Vastrabharanam of Krishna there represented like that. So many beautiful sculptures are seen there with stucco images, which are all stucco images built, remodified during the Nayak period. Next. Now we come to the main entrance of the temple. Everyone who comes to the temple, every day thousands of people come. They just walk through this main entrance, go to the temple. They fail to recognize one beautiful thing of this. You see the main entrance. There is one pillar. That pillar is 45 feet in height, 8 feet in width, 8 by 4 size, standing to 45 feet. The weight of that one pillar is somewhere about 60 metric tons. Like that, 4 of them are placed. Imagine such a huge 60 metric ton to be placed like that. A single piece of stone, it's not a multiple stone, it's a single piece of stone which has been placed there. It's amazing how they did it without the technological gadgets and everything that's available today. They have done it in this. It's amazingly done 1,000 years back. Next one. Now, after passing through this, you go to the second entrance. This second entrance is called as Rajarajan Tiruvayil. The place between the first entrance and the second entrance, in those days it was called as Rishabha Kottil. Rishabha Kottil in the sense where the Nandi used to be there. The original Nandi of this temple was placed there. Today that it's not there and the place is empty. You walk through the second Gopuram. It's called as Rajarajan Tiruvayil. A very beautiful, magnificent Gopuram. Again, a short stunted Gopuram. You have 2 great Dwarapalakas on either side and full of stucco images and going up to 3-tier level. Next one. So this Gopuram represents the Appu Tattvam, the water. Just as the water flows like this, the Gopuram is arranged in such a way it flows like this. So this is the Appu Tattvam of Shiva, which is represented in this Gopuram. And this is a beautiful Gopuram named after the king Rajaraja. Next. And along with this Gopuram, the compound wall extends to all the sides. The 4 sides of this is completely covered with compound wall. All built of granite, very beautiful compound wall with all the Cochin Nandis on top. It's a very beautiful compound wall which was built not by Rajaraja, under the instructions of Rajaraja. His minister or commander-in-chief called Krishnan Raman, he built this beautiful compound wall around this temple. Because Rajaraja involved everybody, right from the smallest peasant to his ministers, everybody were involved in building up this temple. So this was built by the commander-in-chief of the army, Krishnan Raman. Next one. On this wall, you have lovely panels. There are plenty of panels. I'm just showing you one which depicts the Kritarjiniyam story. Very beautifully depicted. Like this, you have Parvati Kalyanam, all that Kumara Sambhavam, everything happening there. You know, all these panels are there around this beautiful compound. Next. Now, when you go into this, you are just dumbstruck by the beauty of the two grand Dwarapalas. What is these two Dwarapalas are there? Everywhere where you go to a temple, inside the sanctum or before the sanctum or in the entrance Gopuram, you will find these Dwarapalakas. They are the guardians of the temple. Now we see this and just keep walking. They are a gigantic creature who looks like a giant. Okay, that's all. We go past this. But this particular sculpture has got so much to offer for us to know about our greatness of this temple. Next one. Look at this. This is 16 feet tall monolithic sculpture of Dwarapalaka, which is there. 16 feet tall, a single piece stone. Now you see him, he's put his one leg on top of a snake and is standing there. Now close up, next one. Now closely watch that. His one leg is on a snake. That snake is swallowing an elephant. You know what is the size of an elephant? If an elephant has to be swallowed by a snake, that snake should be a massive one, an anaconda, which we can't imagine. Okay, that snake, he puts his leg as if he's stamping on a worm. And that shows the mightiness of this great Dwarapalaka. The mightiness of the great Dwarapalaka is such great that he is so powerful. Next one. Now, he is so powerful. Look at his face. Eyes are jetting out. His two canine teeth are coming out like tusk. And he's showing some signs there, which we fail to observe. Look at his finger. He shows Tarjini. Beware of yourself. You are entering into the temple of Lord. Beware of yourself. Know the consequences and then go into the temple. Once you go there, it is Ananda, Vishmaya. He shows the Vishmaya Mudra. He says, when you realize that and you go to the temple, it is Ananda. So, these small gestures, everything we should try to understand. And then only the visit to the temple is complete for us to understand what is the mighty thing there inside. Next one. Now this particular Rajarajan Thirumadal, inside portion, you have plenty of shrines. The shrines for the Ashtadikpalakas, Parivara Devatas, almost about 32 shrines are there inside. And today, none of the images are there. All the images inside these shrines were vandalized and by the Muslim invasion and it's gone. Hardly anything is surviving. A broken image of the Saptamatrikas, Varahi, which is brought in and kept, and now a separate Varahi temple has come up and people are thronging that, even though our Shastra says we should not worship a Binna idol. But today that Binna idol is kept and that's drawing crowds. I don't know, people have gone mad. Next. So there are so many shrines, you can see that all these shrines were dedicated to the Ashtadikpalakas, the Parivara Devas like Ganapati, Subramanya, Chandra, Surya and all that. So many other Parivara Devatas are there. And all this was built by Krishnan Raman, his commander-in-chief. Next one. Look at the beautiful wall. And these are the small tombs that you see there, the Kalashas there. They are all the Parivara Devata shrines, which once there existed a Parivara Devata or Ashtadikpalaka. Probably this should be an Ashtadikpalaka, Indra and Agni. This should have been for Agni. So unfortunately today there is no image for Agni. It's gone. So, and also you had three, the main entrance was so big, but all the other three sides you had an entrance. These entrances were very small, like a doorway to what we see in our houses. That's all. And today all these entrances are closed. Next one. Now as we go through this, we come to the great Nandi Mandapam, the massive Nandi and the Mandapam on top of it. Now we all think this is a part of this temple which was built by Rajaraja. Unfortunately, no. This is a structure which was built later in the 17th century by the Nayak kings who ruled there, and it was built by Sevappa Nayaka, the ruler of Tanjavur in that time. And this Nandi is also one contribution made by the Sevappa Nayaka, and the original Nandi which was worshipped there during the time of Rajaraja is not there, it is elsewhere. Next one. This particular Nandi, which is 25 feet in length, almost 12 feet in height, and 8 feet in width, is a single monolithic stone. Out of single monolithic stone, which was excavated from a place called Pachamalai and brought in. And this mantapa was created around this Nandi by the Nayak groups, and you find the Nayak paintings and the portrait sculptures of the Sevappa Nayaka, everybody, all the other group of Nayakas around this mantapa pillars. So this is the Nandi, a magnificent Nandi. Today they call it the Periya Nandi. This is one of the biggest Nandis in India. Next one. The original Nandi, which was there during the time of Rajaraja, is now shifted inside the prakara of the temple, behind the Varahi temple. This is the original Nandi, which is almost similar to this size. I wouldn't say is as big as that, but slightly 3/4 of that size. And that Nandi is still there. So this is what we have to look at it. The original Nandi, which was made 1,000 years ago, it's there. And you please make a note of this Nandi. This Nandi is also about 10 feet in height and about 15 or 16 feet in length and about 5 feet in width. It's also weighing about 20 metric tons, such a huge Nandi. No other temple has got such a big Nandi also. So this is the original Nandi which was there during the time of Rajaraja. Next one. Now we come to the Mukhamantapam. So the original entrance of the temple was on the sides. There was never a straight entrance. These straight entrances were brought in later in the 19th century by somebody there. So originally, the entry to the temples were only through the side. Now, why you have the entry inside the Garbhagriha through the sides? This is the heart. And the Ishvara resides here. The heart is functioning as long as the function Ishvara resides there. So the heart, the arteries and veins bring the blood. So they are from the side. So the approach to that is always through the side in those days. And this is later introduction. And this Mantapam also is a contribution of the Nayak kings. Next one. So again you have the Dwarapalakas there. And also next, the Ashtavasus are represented as warriors around this Mantapam. The Ashtavasus are also seen here. Next one. Now as you go there, you see the inside sanctum, the huge Shivalinga. The huge Shivalinga, which is almost about 20 feet in height. And the Bana alone, what you see is about 12 feet or 13 feet. And the Avude, what you call that, the base, that is almost 56 feet in circumference and such a huge linga. Now this linga cannot go through this door and done. So when they built the temple with the linga pradishta, and then only the temple construction started. From the day the pradishta was done, pujas were also offered there. Today there was a lot of controversy about Rama temple. How could they have the image before completing the temple? It is the way that which it was done in those days also. That linga pradishta was done and then only the temple started coming around that. Next one. Look at this massive, massive structure. This is the Vimana. We call it Vimana. The tower on top of the sanctum is always called as Vimana. The entrance one is called as Gopura. This has been always confused. They call it Gopuram. Oh, Yavloperi, Gopuram. Gopuram is different. Gopuram is always there in the entrance. The one on the top of the sanctum is always known as Vimana. This stands at 216 feet tall from the ground up to the top, and above that you have a 12 feet high Kalasa which has been placed there. Everything from the top to bottom is all built of granite. It's totally a pyramidal shape. The sanctum is 96 feet by 96 feet square. And from there it raises up to 60 feet level with 2 floors. And then from there it emerges into the conical pyramid like that. And the Chikara is there on the top. What a beautiful structure they have built. 216 feet tall, totally built of granite. Next one. Look at that. I told you from the base, it rises up to 60 feet level in 2 levels. 2 levels. And there is a Sandara inside. And from there, the tower goes up. And look at that Shikara there. That Shikara, lot of you must have heard stories about that. And this is a single piece of stone, 75 metric tons. It was taken in a ramp, almost 6 kilometers, dragged up to that. It's all again cooked up stories. This is a multiple stone which is placed there, and it is also weighing approximately about 80 metric tons there. How did they take it? We'll see it later. How did they bring it there? Also we'll see it later. Next. This is how the sanctum is there. The linga is placed there in the center place. Then a wall of sanctum comes around there. That wall is 11 feet width, going up to 2-floor level, 60 feet height. And there is a passage of 10 feet or 12 feet. Again, there is another wall, 12 feet, both parallelly going up. So the inner passage is known as Sandhara. Sandhara is the Pradakshina path around the sanctum, the first Pradakshina path. And that's beautifully, these 2 walls raise up to that height. Over that, they place the stones in the flat, and from there, the conical whole structure of the Vimana comes up. So, how could they take it in the 6 feet width and place such a big lingam? It's an impossible task. The lingam is a single piece. The linga is one, and the outer, the base, is separate. So, the linga, the pradakshina is done, and the base is inserted there. That's how it has been done in Shivalinga. So, this is very clear. The pradishta of the Shivalinga is done, and the temple has come up. This is a 96 feet square. Next one. Now, if you see there, this is how the 2 Sandharas are there. One in the ground level, one in the upper level. The ground level Sandhara, you have the beautiful mural paintings of the great Cholas done about 1,000 years back. Wonderful paintings. They are damaged, of course, but still, it's remarkable to see those paintings. Nobody is allowed today there because it is very difficult for you to go and see there. But very, very restricted. And these paintings are photographed and it's available for us to see. And the upper level, you have another Pradakshina Patha. In that, you have the 108 Karanas of Shiva dancing. And the whole place is open up to the top. They call this as Akasha Lingam. We saw the Appu, Teyu, Vayu. Vayu is present everywhere. Akasha. The temple, the Vimana, is Akasha Lingam. And the gap between that, what you see is called as Arputa Lingam. That's empty space. That itself was known as Shivalinga. And that's how they worshipped it. Next one. Now see this. This is the photograph of how the Vimana is there. Stones were arranged like that, like that, like that, and it went almost up to the top. Entire thing is built of granite stone. By just placing one stone above the other, there is no plaster in between. And how did they place the stone? With a joint, with a male and female joint, they had placed it. And the whole thing is placed in such a perfect manner. It has withstood 1,000 years. Not a single drop of rainwater seeps in. Today, our constructions we do, 15 days later, when there's a big rain, you will have seepage everywhere. Not a single raindrop of rainwater seeps in. And such beautifully they have done it. Is it not a marvel of engineering? Next. And this is the shikara. Look at that beautiful shikara. As I told you, it's about 80 metric tons. It's made of multiple stones. How did they go up building this temple? From down they start. As they start, the first level is completed. Then they fill it up with sand, close it. Then again the second level. So a ramp is made on the filled ramp. Like that, it's circular motion. They take it around. The temple is built from the ground level. As it grows, the temple is closed. And the whole thing is covered with sand. And a ramp is made around that mud portion. And that's how the multiple stones are taken and the shikara is built. And once the whole thing is complete, the entire sand is taken away, and then only you get the exposure of the temple. So that's how they built this, and that's 80 metric tons. Next one. Look at that beautiful shikara and the 12 feet kalasa on top of it, which was placed by Rajaraja. A golden kalasa. Next. You see the Nandis, 1 minute, can you go back? You see the Nandis, 8 Nandis are there in the 4 cardinal directions. These 8 Nandis, it looks so small and tiny. You know what is the size of the Nandi? Next one. This is the same Nandi, which is weighing approximately 15 to 18 metric tons. Like that, they are placed there. Why they are placed there, such huge Nandi is placed there, is to give a counterbalance to that 80 metric ton shikara. The shikara, which is 80 metric ton, to give a counterbalance, you have this 60 to 70 metric tons of Nandi sculptures placed there to give a counterbalance to that. Next one. This temple, as I said, it rises to 2 levels. The first level outer walls, you have lot of koshtas. The small niches that you see there, it's called koshtas. And everywhere the koshta devatas are there. And lot of, basically comprising of the 25 rupams of Shiva, which is known as Maheshwara Rupam. They are all there. And above that, you have again one particular form of Shiva. And he stands with a bow and arrow. A lot of people say, misconception is that it is Tripurantaka image of Shiva. But actually it is not Tripurantaka. All these 32 or 36 images which are there represent the Rudras. There are hundreds of Rudras, Satarudriyam we call it, no? The Rudras, 30 of them or 32 of them are represented here in this. They all represent different Rudras. Next one. And like we had the Dwarapalas in the main entrance. On the 3 entrance on the 3 sides, you have Astra Devatas. They are called Astra Devatas. They are holding different astras of Shiva. One is here is going the Kadwang, the sword. Next. Okay, some other astra will be holding. And that is what I told you, no? They all represent the beautiful Rudras there. Next one. This is the Rudra. Lot of people say it is Tripurantaka. It is not Tripurantaka, it is Rudra. Rudra is supposed to be with a bow. We say, just not getting the word, Rudram. Okay, I'll just forget it. Danuhu it comes. What is that? Shatarudriyam it comes. Right, next one. So when you go up to the first floor, walk up and go up to the first, very few people are given permission, and we go up to the first floor. Again, this is the entrance to the first floor through which we go there. There also you find Dwarapalas, everything. And inside that you have a very beautiful sculptural panels of Bharatanatyas, 108 Karanas written by Bharatamuni, which was performed by Shiva. Next one. These are all the Karanas of Shiva. 108 Karanas, which we say was performed by Shiva, and that was codified by Bharatamuni, and that was brought out as Bharata Shastra. So here, the first Karana, which is called as Tala Pushpam. Now, offering the flower to the stage and going up. So, when here Shiva himself is shown as doing this. Why is he shown with 4 arms? That denotes the movement of Karana. So he starts like this and then comes like this and offers this flower. The 2 upper hands are shown where the Karana starts, the movement starts, and how it ends. All these Karanas are like that. 108 Karanas were supposed to be there. Rajaraja did only 87 Karanas. But this was in situ sculptures. These were placed there. The blocks of granite were placed there while building, and later they started the sculpting. So in situ sculptures. So when these Karanas, 87 of them he could complete it before he did the Kumbhabhishekam. Later after that he fell sick. His son Rajendra deserted the city of Tanjavur and went to Gangaikonda Cholapuram and built a beautiful capital city there. Not only that, he took away all the sculptors from here and gave them the work there. So this is unfinished. 13 of them stand unfinished. So that is a very sad thing. We are not able to have the 108 there. It's a beautiful thing to see. Next one. Inside the Sandara in the ground floor, you have lovely paintings, Chola murals, I told you. Look at the Tripurantaka. Tripurantaka Shiva is going on the chariot which has been drawn by Brahma. Look at the eyes of Tripurantaka. So bulging out like that with anger on seeing the Tripurasuras. The Tripurasuras are also there. So that's a beautiful mural painting done with vegetable or natural colors and thousands of years it's still there. Unfortunately, because the greatness of this was not known, there was a plenty of this bad breeding there, and because of that, a lot of damages has happened now. Now the government is preserving it with great care. Next one. This is again the painting. A lot of people say this is the image of Rajaraja and Gurumurthy, which is not. This represents the Sanakadi Munis. Sanakadi Munis are of different age. When they come to Dakshinamurti, they are not young. Dakshinamurti is young, but the Munis are of different age. So this is 2 of the Sanakada Munis. And here, another painting, Rajaraja is shown praying at the Chit Sabha of Nataraja in Chidambaram. That's a beautiful image of how he regarded Chidambaram as a very holy place, and he did lot for this particular temple, especially the Cholas, and Rajaraja retrieved the Tevarams from this temple. So he and his 3 wives are offering prayers at the Chidambaram Kanakasabha. You find the golden hall, this is Chit Sabha, and Rajarajan is standing in the Kanakasabha and offering that prayers to him. Next one. Look at that. This is a close-up of Rajaraja. He is a king who was literally ruling the entire southern continent. But still, how simple he is there with just a small dhoti. No jewelry or anything adorning him. He is as simple as anybody like, or when he is in the place of Shiva, the Chidambaram. his three wives are also there. This is a portrait image of Rajaraja, done during his time and executed by him. Next, thank you. Next one. Now the sculptures on this outside wall is so beautiful. You have Mahalakshmi. Next, you have the Shiva. Just a look of it, everybody will say this is Lingodbhava, right? It is not Lingodbhava, it is Chakradhana Murti. Mahavishnu offered 1,000 lotus every day and prayed to Shiva at Tiruvimalai. One day when he was doing the prayer, he offered 999 lotus, one lotus was missing. So he took one of his eyes and offered it there. Immediately Shiva emerged out of the linga and gave him the blessings and also the chakra, the Sudarshana chakra to Mahavishnu. So this is known as Chakradhana Murti, a very rare representation that you could see in the temples of South India. Next one. That is Kalasamhara Murti, Shiva kicking Kala with his left leg to save Markandeya. Next. Nataraja, Ananda Tandava of Nataraja. Very beautifully done. Next. That is Uma Sahita Murti. Look at the majestic Shiva standing very majestically robust and the shy Parvati by his side. How beautifully they have brought out the expressions and given it. It's lifelike sculpture. Wonderful sculpture. All these sculptures were painted on top of it. It's all granite sculptures. They were painted during the Maratha period. And some of the paintings have gone, some of the paintings are still remaining. So the government of India, Archaeological Survey of India, decided not to disturb it because if they try to disturb it, they might lose these sculptures or rather damage these things, so it is left like that. So somewhere you find the traces of painting, somewhere you don't see it. That's how it is there. Next one. Look at that Ardhanarishwara. Again, a beautiful form of Ardhanarishwara. One side is Shiva and one other side is Parvati. Shiva is shown with two arms. Parvati is shown with a single arm, holding a beautiful parrot in her hand. Look at the difference shown in the color there itself. How beautifully they have depicted Ardhanarishwara here. Next one. This is Sadyojata Murti. The Pancha faces of Shiva. Sadyojatam, Vamadevam, Tatpurusham, Ishanam, Aghoram. All these faces had a murti. And Agama Sastras do describe about these murtis. And that's beautifully depicted here as Sadyojata Murti. Next one. That is the Aghora Murti. Aghora face of Shiva, the Murti for the Aghora face of Shiva. Next. And this temple has beautiful yali decoration. The yali is again a mythical animal. It never existed. We don't know whether it has existed or not. It's a mythical animal. It's a combination of so many animals. It's got a face of a lion, body of a lion. At times it has a face of an elephant also. The claws, everything. It's a mythical animal. So this mythical yali is the typical symbol of the Chola temples. Wherever you go to a Chola temples, you will find these mythical yalis running around as a piece of decoration all around the place. Next one. This temple on its basement has got multiple inscriptions. We have about 400 and odd inscriptions inscribed by Rajaraja time alone in this temple. All these inscriptions describe very clearly how he built this temple, how did he do that, everything, vivid details. The minutest of minute detail has been given. Everything has been recorded. Why did he record it? He wanted the public to know about it. When the public knows about this, if there is some discrepancy happening there, they had the right to come and ask. So that way the transparency was maintained. And because of that, today we are able to retrieve the history of the past of the Cholas. Next. And the prakaras, which was built by Krishnaraman, you find so many Shivalingas there. These Shivalingas are later addition brought during the Maratha period. There is another place close to this Thiruvayaru where there was Koti Lingam once upon a time there. And that was destroyed by Malika IV. And from there, all these lingas which were survived were brought in and kept by Sharfoji here inside this prakaras. Next. This is the beautiful prakaras. Some of the prakaras are empty and some of the prakaras you have linga. And behind that you have also paintings from Tiruvilayadar Puranam. Next one. You have sub-shrines in this temple. These shrines, the one which you see here is dedicated to the Ganapati. This Ganapati temple was not an original structure during the Rajaraja time. This was a later temple built by the Maratha kings. So this is a very later edition of the 18th century Ganapati temple. Originally, the Ganapati was considered as one of the Parivara Devatas, and it was accommodated in the prakara of the temple with the 30 shrines which were there. Next one. Another one is the beautiful Subramanya temple. Again, a Nayak contribution of the 16th century. A marvelous temple for the Dravidian style of architecture. A simple, compact, beautiful, architecturally wonderful temple built by the great Nayak kings. And this is dedicated to the Shanmukha, seated on the peacock with his two consorts, Valli and Devasena, in the sanctum. It's a wonderful temple of 17th century. Right in the front you see there is a small temple. They call it as the Karur Tevar Samadhi. Historically, Karur Tevar has got no reference to Rajaraja. Neither was he a guru of Rajaraja or anything. And I don't know how the concept of Karur Tevar and Rajaraja came together. And today they worship this as this Jiva Samadhi of Karur Tevar. And what we understand from the literary sources, Karur Tevar had his Jiva Samadhi in Pratarjuniyam, that is Tirupudai Maradur in Tirunelveli district. Next. This is the original temple built for Chandikeshwara by Rajaraja. This was the only structural temple apart from the main Garbhagriha which was existing at that time when Rajaraja built it. Chandikesha is the accountant of the temple. So every puja is offered and the prasadams are offered to Chandikesha. When you make a donation to the temple, the donation is read out, water is poured in the Chandikesha's hand and offered as the offering to the god. That's how it was done those days. The Chandikesha's temple is a very important temple which was original structure of the Rajaraja built 1000 years ago. Next one. This is again the view from the top, the Chandikesha temple. A very simple temple. Inside you have the image of Chandikesha. Today people go, make claps, they do this sound and they say somebody speaks, somebody say don't speak and all that. See, Chandikesha is in dhyana. He is not bothered about you making a sound and he doesn't count your presence there. People say if you go clap him, your presence is counted, Shiva will take it into his account. No, it's not like that. He is in the dhyana of Shiva. You don't disturb him. Just go, offer your prayers and come back. That's how it should be there. Next one. This is the temple for Brahannayaki. This temple is a part of this great temple which was not built by Rajaraja. This was built by the Pandya king in the 13th century after the Chola Empire collapsed. After the Chola Empire collapsed, the Pandyas took over this and this was built by the Pandya king, dedicated to Devi Brahannayaki. Earlier days, temple, there was never a separate shrine for the goddess. The goddess was a Shiva Lingam itself was a combination of Shiva and Shakti. Apart from that, they always had Manonmani Devi, which will be inside or by the side in the sanctum. So a separate shrine for Devi came only later, after about 11th, 12th centuries, and this started up like this, and Pandya kings built this beautiful temple of Brahannayaki. Next. That's the great Brahannayaki. She also stands so tall, a perfect match for Shiva, Brihadishwara there. Next. And this is again a small structure which is for Nataraja Mantapam, which was again made by the Maratha kings. Originally, the Nataraja image made for this temple by Rajaraja is still under worship here in this temple. This was kept in between, above the Shivalinga, in the Arputalinga place. That was how he was worshipped, as an ether, the dancer of cosmos, cosmic dancer. So he was worshipped there. They built a separate mantapam here and brought in the beautiful Nataraja. Next one. That's the beautiful surviving image of Nataraja, still under worship for 1,000 years in this Brihadishwara temple. Rajaraja donated about 60 and odd bronze images to be worshipped in this temple. Today, barring this Nataraja and Shivakam Sundari, everything is gone. Either they have been looted or gone or got buried inside, and still today it is not surfaced. It's $1 million question, nobody knows. 60 odd images, where bronze images, processional deities were presented by him. And he gives a vivid description of all these things in these inscriptions. Today, this is the only surviving Nataraja. Next one. Now we saw about the temple, a little bit of the temple. We'll see something very interesting features if you have time. Or shall I close it with this? I'll try to finish within 10 minutes. Is that okay? I'll just go fast. Is that okay? Some interesting facts about this total thing, granite structure. Next one. Next. Total granite for this temple was acquired from a place called Narthamalai, which is situated in Pudukkottai. This is about 85 kilometers from present-day Tanjavur temple. 85 kilometers they have brought these blocks, transported it. How did they, what sort of machinery they had? How could they transport such blocks of granite? And mind you, I showed you a block which is weighing 60 metric tons in a dressed form. In an undressed form, it should be almost 80 to 100 metric tons. How did they take it as a single block and bring it? How? They did not have concrete roads like this. Neither they had cranes and facilities. All that they had, bullock carts. How did they bring it? And they had to cross so many rivers and streams. You did not have bridges like what we have today. But still, they brought all these things from that 85 kilometers and built this beautiful temple. Next one. It's mind-boggling to know how they could have done this. What technology they have used. How could they bring it? It's $1 million question. Today, with all these infrastructure, everything, and technical advancement, we have not able to bring out anything like this. Next. Now, all these stones which are brought, they were arranged like this, one above the other, and the temple was built. They did not dress the stone of equal size like what we do with the bricks, 9 by 6 brick, and make the structure. See, it's not in a straight line. This is Rajaraja's temple. It's not in a straight line. There is always a wave in that. Why did they do it? They are not fools. They have done it because when you place this particular thing and do it, if there is a seismic variations in this place, this whole thing will not collapse. It will take up that. With that intentions, they have done this. What marvel of engineering they have done it. Next one. Next. And this particular style is known as Kattumanam. This is all known as Kattumana Koilgal. Right? Next one. Next. they had to maintain a supply chain. They had to maintain the quantity of blocks that they require for building this temple. Everything had to be planned. Today, with all sort of softwares and things, we are still goofing up. The supply chain management was so beautiful in those days. Next one. Next. And looking back at this quantity of temple, everything had to be quarried from rock and chiseled up. They had to use iron chisel. See, iron chisel, we did not have carbon steel or something like that in those days. They were hardened. So these chisels have to be made. And if you strike about on a hard granite about 10 times or 20 times, the chisel will become blunt. Again, it has to be sharpened. Thousands and thousands of blacksmiths were involved in this. Thousands of tons of steel material were used in making this. If you try to recollect the data for this, you will find no answer for these things. Next one. Next. And this particular temple construction required a lot of money. Where did they get the money? The king used to go always on war with the neighboring states. When they go, they win over, all the soldiers will loot. The king will not go for loot. One portion of the loot will come to the king's coffer. So this money, whatever the king brings as his own money, he knows it is a not good money. So he uses that for the building of the temples. That's what it says. He says it. All this money is my own contribution, which is my share of war booty. I am giving it back here to this temple. So that's how, and to build this particular temple in a period of 10 years, Rajaraja had undertaken almost 6 great expeditions. Not only by him, by his son Rajendra Chola also. The Gangas, the Pandyas, the Nulumbas, everybody were defeated. And he brought them. And this war was for 2 things. One for the war booty, and next one was the prisoners of war. When you go there, you have all these prisoners of war, you bring them. They are used as slaves for this, building of these temples. So that's how these wars and the temple went hand in hand. Next. Next. Yeah, I've already, and how this particular temple, I told you 216 feet and all that, this has taken 135,000 metric ton of granite. The weight of this temple has been calculated approximately 135,000 metric tons of granite. That huge weight, if it has to be placed on a plane, what sort of foundation should have? Today, we go 10 feet below, the soil is not good, so we go again pillar foundation, this and all that. But this entire temple stands on a foundation of 5 feet. Can you imagine it? The entire area of the temple, 450 feet by 650 feet, were excavated to almost about 20 to 30 feet, filled with river sand, up to about 20 feet. And over that, they laid huge blocks of granite slabs, east, west, and north, south axis. And the entire construction, that 5 feet of what they laid there, is the foundation. The entire constructional weight is shared throughout the area and not focusing particularly to one point. This is not a marvel of engineering that has been done. Next. Yeah, I have done this. Next. I've already told you how the Vimana was constructed. See, as and when they go, every stage, one stage they finish up to 4 feet or 5 feet, they'll fill it up with sand. And then that ramp is made. Then again they go up for another 4 feet, 5 feet. Again the sand is filled and covered. Like that, they went up to the topmost level and they completed. Next. All these things he has given it in the inscriptions. Rajaraja has given more than 300 inscriptions, and that talks about his contributions to them. And he has given lot of jewels, gold, silver, and other metals for his temple. Next. He had given 60 bronzes, I told you. This is the Nataraja, only image of Nataraja which is remaining. And this is an image of Tripurantaka which was donated by his wife called Panchavanma Devi, and that is also there in the Tanjavur Museum. One of his ministers made a portrait image of Rajaraja and his queen Lokama Devi, and that was given in the temple by that minister. So this was always in the temple. Whenever the god was taken out in procession, this image of Rajaraja and his wife will face the god and go around the procession. So this image was looted from the temple and it was taken away. And luckily Sharabai Museum, the Gautam Sharabai, bought this and kept it. Today, after a great fight, it is brought back to the temple with all the honors. And now today it is there in the temple of Rajaraja. Next. He made plenty of jewels for the temple, and he has given vivid description of what the jewelry is, how many grams it is there, what sort of rubies, what sort of pearls it has got, everything, very minutest detail he has given. Next, the weight of everything, the diamond, a necklace if he has given, what is the weight of the stones there, what is the weight of other things there, wax, arak, they call it, and what is the exclusive weight of the gold alone, everything he has given vividly into this inscriptions. Next one. It's like that. Similarly, he has given plenty of vessels, and all these vessels were donated by him. And it is not only that Naivedyams to be offered in this golden plate and everything, how much of ghee is to be added? You know, the nei, mutte, we call it in a small spoon where we pour the ghee. He has given the size of that also. Imagine that sort of a clarity he has given to all his donations. Next one. He had employed 300 dancers for this. 16 upacharas we do to the temple every day in the pujas, after which Vadyam, Geetam and Nrityam is one of the important upacharas. So that he employed 300 dancing girls. And these dancing girls were brought from different temples. They were accommodated in 2 big streets called Talacheri. Everybody was given a house. Everybody was given a place to live. And all those things were recorded. This one inscription of Rajaraja runs to about 230 feet in about 8 lines, giving every description of the dancer, from where she hails, and what is the house number allotted to her, and when she is supposed to perform every day. See, all the 300 do not perform every day. So someone will do in the 6 Kala Pujas, some group will form in the first Kala, second Kala, like that. So which Kala, where, and everything, all that details he has given there. What sort of thing he has done? Is it not mind-boggling? Next. Not only this, hundreds of people were appointed for singing Tevaram. Rajaraja retrieved the Tevarams from the Chidambaram temple. He had appointed hundreds of people to read it. And he has given the names of them. And everybody, Tevara Oduvar, had a Shiva Diksha. And the Shiva Diksha name is also given. Like Shiva Kolandu, Editta Pichan, all that. He has given those names also. And every worker who was employed in the temple, their names are also inscribed in that. Next. Next. And every temple needed lights to be there, perpetual lights to be there, lamps. So what they do is they give about 80 goats to one particular A. Ask him to manage it. Every day he has to give this amount of ghee to the temple from the goats. So these goats will multiply over a period of time. He will also earn out of it. Plus the temple also gets a particular quantity of ghee every day. Like that, it was all managed. So he, his ministers, everybody, even the last citizen of this state was given an opportunity to make the donation. Cows and goats were given there, and that's how the perpetual lamps were burnt in this temple. Next. It's a very high degree of technical advancement in the construction and management of temple. A very high degree of transparency in system, making every citizen feel responsibility that this temple belongs to him, is what was achieved by Rajaraja. A very great vision, well thought, planned, executed by Rajaraja, undoubtedly makes this as a great, great temple. Rajaraja was a great visionary who executed, should have been, and I consider this should have been one of the wonders of the world. Next. Next. What we saw was the glimpse of the temple. There's much more to know and explore. Many of them have submitted theses on this, and still there's so much for us to learn about the management and so many things. There's enough scope for us to explore and know more about this temple. Thank you for all the opportunity given to me. Thank you very much. Thank you, Swamiji. If there's any questions, I'll answer it. If there is. No, it's all lot of speculations are there. People are giving their own theories, but they have not come to the complete conclusion. This is the thing.
That is surprising that so many things he gave, but how they brought it. So then it must be a very normal thing.
Very normal thing. Yes, sir. Oh. Now, Panchamukha Shiva is one representation which you saw the sculpture there, right? Yeah, I showed you. That is Sadashiva. When you see the Shivalinga itself, they invoke the Sadashivam into that linga and only do the puja in all temples. It is not shown in the human form of the face, but the 5 faces of this is worshipped in all Shiva temple. Sadhyo Jatam, Vamadevam, Tatpurusham, Ishanam, Aghoram. All the faces are there. It is assumed and invoked. There are faces, this is called as Mukhalinga, which is there. A lot of Mukhalingas are there in north. Especially you can see the Pashupatinath Linga, which has got the 4 faces. The above face is just missing. It's not there, but they assume it. Like that, you have 3 faces, which is, they worship it as Bhairava and all that. The Vamadevam face is always Parvati. Vamadevam face will be feminine. So, all that is there in many temples. Here, especially in south, you don't have the Mukhalinga concept. Very few places you have the Mukhalinga concept. Either they put a kavacha of Mukha on the Shivalinga, or very rarely you find a Mukhalinga. I don't see, except Kalahasti and one place in North Arcot. Sri Shailam is also not there. Sri Shailam is a small Jyotirlingam. Vakrakali temple, that, what is it? That temple also there's one Mukhalinga. Right. Yes, sir. It was maintained, it wasn't maintained at all. 10 years it took to build it. 3rd year, 1010, he completed it. 1013, Rajarajan died. or 1011 itself, Rajarajan became very sick. So what happened? His son Rajendra moved away from here, Tanjavur, deserting this temple. All the gifts and danas that were given to this temple were confiscated and taken to that new temple of Gangaikonda Cholapuram. This temple was left to ruin, for a long time. Thanks to Marathas and the Vijayanagar people, they retrieved it. By the Cholas, as long as the Cholas were there, Rajendra, when he moved away, all the capital city moved to Gangaikonda Cholapuram. This temple was left in dark.
So many dancers and
Yes,
such establishment.
yes. Everything they must have moved elsewhere.
Oh my God, I see. It's a very sad story. Thank you.
Yes. Almost about 100 years it was not given much importance. Okay, the temple puja, something must have been done. Importance to this temple was gone within the third year of the temple. And it came back only in the 16th century, 13th century when the Pandyas came over. They revived this. They built the Brahmanayaki temple and all that. So it came back after the Chola regime. Almost 300 years, this was, the importance of this temple had gone.
Hello.
There are stories and history for all Jyotirlingas. Is there any such story or history for this?
See, that is Puranic version. No, this is not a Puranic temple. This is a temple built by King Rajaraja. That's why it is called Rajarajeshwaram. There is no Puranic aspect to this temple. This is a man-made temple. There is no Purana like Indra got his Shapa Vimochanam, that Rishi got Shapa Vimochanam, nothing like that. Nothing like that. There is no Puranic story. Yes, sir.
What is the language and script of?
All Tamil. Tamil. This Tamil was in existence 1,000 years back. Today's Tamil and this Tamil, you can't read it unless you know.
What the script?
Script is Tamil. Script is Tamil, not Brahmi. Tamil script. Brahmi script is different, Tamil Brahmi is different, then Vattelithu is different, this is different. This is Tamil script of those days. The Kaga, all that what we write in Tamil today is very similar, but it's slightly different. You need expertise to learn that. Yeah. The class has been conducted for this to decipher everything. All the Tamil University is doing it. A lot of people are there to read the scripts now.
And where was the palace of Rajarajeshwaram, sir?
See, that's what I'll tell you. All these kings, they built this massive temple, which was a permanent structure. Their residence, whatever the palaces there were not massive like what our sultans did it here in Delhi and other places. They devoted more for the God. They lived very ordinary life. I showed you how Rajaraja was there. They must have made a palace which will be slightly bigger than all the peasants' house and things like that. It should have the basic amenities, everything. It could have been even a palatial one, but made of perishable structures. And when the king, the Pandyas came, they must have ransacked everything. And before that itself, there is remains of the palace at Gangaikonda Cholapuram of Rajendra Chola. Only the foundation is seen there. The entire palace has been vandalized by the Pandyas when they took over that. Pardon, sir? Yeah. Yeah, that was all wide, very big. I'm talking about the sanctum door which was small. These doors are wide. Yes, sir. Sukhina sarve santu niramaya sarve bhadrani paschyantu ma kaschit dukha bhavaye Oma sakavaya tavasoma jyotirgavaya pratyarma amritam gavaya Om Shanti पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय नमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः Thank you so much.